This was a bad idea.
And why is that?
We have rent to pay, we've just gotten married, and now we picked up and moved across the country for our family. What were we thinking, Jack? I know we were in love, but it was amazing. But we were only 16 when we met. Just kids. We rushed ourselves into marriage. Do you not think that 19 is too young? We have our whole lives in front of us.
That, Meryl, honestly, but can't you see that I want to spend my entire life with you? Can you not see how much I love you?
And do not think for a second that I do not still love you.
Then why are you speaking like this? Why can you not be content?
Jack, I do love you, but I'm sorry to tell you that I'm no longer in love with you.
Meryl's tone was barely above a whisper, and tears brimmed in her eyes. She sighed heavily.
I'm going for a walk.
And she was out the door before Jack had any time to protest. He waited for her. He knew that he and Meryl could not just leave their discussion as it was. Hours passed, and Jack began to get worried. He waited longer and longer and had finally decided that she had really left him. Jack was alone and tired, so he made his way to bed, hoping that Meryl would return during the night. Anger arose within him, and he could no longer contain it. He left, and again started to cry, and went towards the bathroom. Jack's heart stopped as he stepped into the bathroom and saw his wife laying face down on the floor, completely lifeless. He ran to Meryl's side and laid a hand on her back, but she did not react. He ran back to the other room and dialed 911.
911, what's your emergency?
Jack was breathless, but he pushed to get his words out.
My name is Jack Wallens. I live in apartment 306 Monowi, Nebraska. I just found my wife in our apartment and she's completely unresponsive.
Is there any blood on the scene, sir?
There's not appear to be. Please send help quick.
Jack had managed to calm himself down just enough to beg the receptionist for help. The ambulance arrived in around 30 minutes, and they sped away to the nearest hospital, leaving Jack on the street with the reflection of red and blue lights on his face. Meryl Wallens was pronounced dead 2 hours later with no explanation of what happened. None of the tests showed any signs of struggle or that anything in her body was wrong. This led to the suspicion that perhaps it was a murder. Investigators began looking at the case almost immediately. The problem was there were practically no clues to be found. She was found on the floor of her own room. People began to accuse Jack of the crime. It was obvious, right? Mrs. Kimmel from downstairs had heard them fighting the night before Meryl was found, so he was obviously guilty. Others said that it was Mrs. Kimmel herself. She had always been a greedy, grumpy old woman, and when she heard screaming, she knew it would be bad for her business, so she took care of the problem, so to speak.
I'll take care of this.
Pleaded innocent and were released from custody when nothing added up. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. How could somebody kill a person and leave no clues, no tracks, and no evidence? The murder of Monowi remains unsolved today. Too bad no one suspects the narrator.